I am 3 days into a bender of lust and self-pity in the wake of the world kicking me when I am down. After stealing the lunch money my mommy gave me that I spent on chocolate milk coffee and cookie cigarettes at the playground, just like all the other rich boys have. It seems I give the best things in life for free, then everything else just costs more for me. Credit cards gone, cash up and smoke, wallowing in clouds of fire and fumes, fire and brimstone. Homeless I'm Ryan, living in cigarette hell with demons who don't have pitchforks, but instead nicotine gum, hissing cessation, or reading lists of made-up sins, false accusers. As I spasm for my medicine, Daddy needs his medicine, backpacking on the other side of the pond and having officially run out of money, but not time to suffer for it. Suffering I'm Ryan, 'cause I'm fresh out of smokes too, dehomed if I ever had one. On strange soil, who knows what I'll do for food or where I'll sleep. What time does the sun go down in hell? Tick-tock, tick-tock. Secondhand smoke, feel the urge, got no money, either on alms or asleep in the elements, fantasizing the same as anyone who ever looked for the perfect parking space at Walmart to live in for the night. Smoke on credit, blue light special smoke, layaway smoke, Salvation Army giveaway donations at Christmas, like addicts in the street, begging for spare change. I put on my Santa Claus suit and ring my bell next to a red bucket in the snow. Ho, ho, ho! While touching my hand to my mouth, international sign language for, hey, got some smoke to spare? Prime cigarettes for the starving children of that country you saw in a headline. Cigarette guilt strings attached to boundless cigarette charity. Secondhand cigarette etiquette, if you're bumming, you should look them in the eyes with back straight like a handshake or spend the rest of your minutes with shoulders hunched in fear and shame. Tick-tock, tick-tock. Secondhand smoke, my life story can be told using cigarettes as a soundtrack for my mood. A smoke track. As a foul-mouthed inmate 18 years in, I smoked Newports and that oh-so-good refreshing flavor magazines used to advertise to people of dark skin. Maybe I was black when I was young, only God knows. Then there were parliaments with recessed filters and the internet got big and there were all kinds of cigarettes and they just showed up in the mail. First-class postage on first-hand smoke from former Soviet nations and cheap, but they tasted like Chernobyl. When I joined the working's man world, it was Marlboro Lights, 2 packs a day with old drip coffee from a glass burner. I remember my first cigarette, same as the ones from the womb, Benson and Hedges Gold, and if drinking Henson and Veggies dyslexic, Jim Henson and Veggies, gold like cold, Muppets and spinach on ugly ice in space chimp hell, stolen from my father. First-hand smoke from an old school gentleman, and cools when I wanted to feel cool again. Maybe I was black again. Smoking Listerine or breath mints, Cool Hand Luke smoking cools next to a penguin as we hold our eggs in the deep freeze and wait for the baby's mama to come back with some fish in her gullet. With skins in the bank dung hills, not picked from dung hills, but first-handed with flavor. Feeling as old school as the old man, maybe even a lucky strike, no filter. Even more like the old man, maybe. I never quit anything in my life, except quitting. In China, I smoke Union, carried with Mao's little red book in hand, and wearing my red scarf, marching first in the triangle, and camels called War. And there I have whole cartons, planned smoke, first-hand, like planned pregnancy, bringing new joy to the world. Wo ya water cigarette, and tick-tockity-tock-tock. And hand-rolled cigarettes with my camp coffee. Howdy, partner. Reconsolidated cigarettes from the Roaches, cigarette hippie, green revolution on a mission of zero cigarette waste. I have smoked cigarettes from ashtrays piled Mauna Loa high, with burnt butts, and sequentially numbered and labeled them by the tobacco left, and fired them up in the order that made most empirical sense to produce the best buzz. Secondhand cigarette science, paired with testing of the cigarette biosphere in my conversion van, of the nicotine and caffeine composition of the blood in my veins, comparable only to that trash juice that lives at the bottom of a garbage can in a cafe. I wonder if they will take a core sample of my lungs in some future, like charting global warming in Antarctica, and find layers of sadness and smoke tar and figure out which brand I was happiest smoking. Though I hate the word happy, or how much money I had during certain alignments of the stars. Let me consult my star chart for if it's a good time to light up. Ooh, imagine that. Click, suck. Tick-tock, tick-tock, second hands keep a moving. I have gambled cigarettes. I have mortgaged cigarettes. Leverage for packs, everything but my firstborn. Cigarette Rumpelstiltskin away. I have held cigarette walkathons, cigarette telethons, calling them pleasure pack. There's an old cultural item. People getting shot for their Jordans in the decaying urban centers. I'm careful not to open carry road cigs in certain neighborhoods. Lest cigarette highwaymen come for my smoky treasure. Or this cigarette accountant finds me. You've been cigarettes served. Margin call on all my hey, I'll owe you ones. Hey, I'll owe you 10. And my cigarette Dow Jones dips. Cigarette Black Friday, tracked down by ATF agent Dirty Harry. Have to flee to Europe. Too late. Already harried and dirty. And in trouble with the coppers, who have recently put the boot down on my not buying tickets for the train, and detained me for, of all crimes, in what was formerly Nazi country, impersonation of a Jew. They might send me to jail with 3 hots in a cot, but no smoke, I'll be torn from my beloved streets, streets paved with gold and lined with cigarettes. A man could be so cigarette rich in 1 hour by the trains, he did not have to scavenge until night, when the moon was full, roaring like a cigarette werewolf. Ooh, I am mostly a cigarette raccoon, digging in your garbage. A cigarette possum. Possumus ne dona cigarette, mea mamacum. Veritas publicus, by Saturn have two, and hail Kaisera, in this glorious hour. Tick-tock, tick-tock. Secondhand smoke, cigarette, truth or dare. Tired of the lies, here too little yang for most yins. Dare you to beat that one, and reflect on truth. Through the eyes of the poor who have kept their dignity, the world is filled with it. No time for lies when, and nothing but possibilities you have not eaten for days on end. And the only thing holding you together is the next cigarette. Cigarette sustenance, the truth of the street. I remember the first time I had nothing and picked my first smoke from the pavement and brushed it off and lit it up, and the first time I enjoyed a secondhand but forgot to feel dirty after. I was already sleeping on icy stone. Nothing tastes better than free. I wonder if that was the death of me. And you shall rise from the ashes, two cool Luke, cigarette phoenix. Dvija, sajayate, tick-tock, tick-tock. Cigarette, Zigaretten, haben Sie vier mit ein Bier? High German technologies for suppressing my gnawing self-consciousness. Each look and accusation. Do they know I'm homeless? Ausländer? Bloodstealer? Haben Sie Hunger? And also dampening with all these Helgas and Ingas my lust in this ram's rutting hour. I'd have peopled this Rhineland island if not for poverty, nicotine, and drink. That's all of us doped up. Easier to burn and booze away the pain than confront a system that is broken like a plane in which we are packed and everyone can agree the nose is pointed earthbound. Too many degrees after the pilot downed 6 scotches and told us in his best Chuck Yeager voice, I'm not happy with the results of the recent election. My wife just took half of it all. And told us in his best Chuck Yeager voice, I'm not happy with the results of the recent election. My wife just took half of it all on the dog. Pray for me. We were never closer to space chimp heaven. In nomine Raleigh. Tick-tock, tick-tock. Second-hand smoke. Tick, 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 tick. Tickle me blue and cold. I wake up to light fires in the abandoned buildings I sleep in so I won't freeze to death. In the dead of night when you are alone and the poorest man within 10 blocks, and while the world dozes or drinks or dances or slaps skins on silk sheets or by fireplaces, and women cook with only a shirt on, suggestion of rump beneath, and I'm burning underwear catalogs with that same woman in them just to stay alive. The mind changes. Same after shivering against the cold glass of a phone booth in Europe, wrapped in a thin blanket stolen from a restaurant patio, thinking warm wine thoughts and a hint of flesh, with occasional raclette dreams of women wearing collared shirts now and nothing else, munching on cheesy potatoes and wine, available to all and free, yet somebody plotted against this for me. Too many notches to mark the inadequacy. I am Edmond Dantes, the warden is cruel, escape is in hand, vengeance to follow, if karma doesn't get them first. No more in the second declension, no more in the third, not the object of their evils, nor the instrument. Victim speech no more. Sponsored by IKEA, which to its lingonberry credit has saved my comfort and sense of humanity more than once, and maybe even my life, on nights it was snowing. The winter waits for no bear to find his burrow, until the daylight returns to discover half a pack lying on the ground, next to bottles and butts, and piss from a group of drunks, who yelled into the night as I slept in my phone booth, just near the tram line, waiting not for sunup, but about an hour after, for in morning, that's the sunrise, the birth of morning, heat moves the air like tidal currents, makes the world colder. Called thermal inversion. Gotta beat the thermal inversion, aka turtle invasion. Gotta avoid the turtles until you hear the chariot, and Surya shows up to burn the freeze off. Tick-tock, tick-tock. Secondhand smoke, becoming the stuff of secondhand nightmares, stalking the streets. Eyes darting, scanning, cigarette bloodhounds, trash steeled. Searching for Marlboro black truffles, Winston lions chasing Newport gazelles, cigarette apex predator feeds unchallenged on the cigarette circle of life, cigarette heat-seeking missile target acquire, fire and fury, cigarette sociopath befriends people to bum butts, cigarette psychopath studies, watches, cigarette stalker in the bar keeps better count of your smokes than you do, cigarette charity man gives them out freely like a product promoter, cigarette sharer, puff puff pass, selfless cigarettism, cigarette Debo takes by force, it's ours together now, cigarette complainer with that ugly look on her face, cigarette voyeur just wants to watch you smoke, smoke ring blowers mistaking cigarettes for toothbrushes, leaving the end drenched and wet, cigarette makeup artist stains the edge with lipstick, cigarette salesman, cigarette hoarder, cigarette snob, and cigarette exploiter. What will you do for it? And me, all hours of the day and night, cigarette garbage man, just heating by the roadside. I do the hollering here. Under the illusion no one can smell me as a chain smoke, chain to tobacco, whole chain gang with me on the roadside. Gotta smoke everyone to get free. Light another one, boss. Then out on cigarette parole, so I purchased dip, and when that's not enough, throw on the lip of the dip, then light one up. A dance through a wintergreen forest, minty, almost Newport quality. Coffee. Cool con, sugar from the cane, Adderall, Blackadder strikes the brain, sends you blasting off like a space chip on a mission to smoke 'em all, catch 'em all. Pokemon cigarettes. How many brands have you tried? Or do you stay cigarette monogamous, misled by misfiring Western Judeo notions of cigarette loyalty, with soul-crushing guilt upon straying, or being caught by the cigarette cheaters crew, or confronted on cigarette mori? Or do you just not fix it if it ain't broke? My grandfather smoked 4 packs of Cowboy Killers a day like clockwork. Tick, tick, tick. Olympic synchronized cigaretting like dominoes. Ever watch one smoker light up and the rest follow? Space Chimp C, Space Chimp Do, Space Chimp Paradise Code on a mission. Every 45 minutes lighting cigarettes as incense and praying to the winds. Space Chimp Paradise Cult meditations. Tick tock, tick tock. Secondhand smoke. Light the wrong end. Tear off the melted butt. Custom cigarettes and declare I have stepped out of a time machine from the greatest generation when men were men. Cigarettes were accessories and the advertising was catchier, more intelligent. Smoking was allowed everywhere. James Bond could tell if you were a Nazi just by the way you held your cigarette. More about Nazis and cigarettes here and more here, but no more here. That horse can't get no deader. Or for shock value, perhaps more here. Whiggamore, Milkman, Sour Milk, White Milk, Whitmore, White Man, have more wit. What's wrong with that? Who dat? Joe Dat. Joe Daddy, but not your mama. Coffee stains on buck teeth. Washing down nicotine. Nothing to eat and buy 2 packs if you get a hold of some cool con. Powder used to buy my cigarettes for me. Buy 1 pack, get 20 more not free. Red wine and Marlboro lights like riding Jacob's escalator up to heaven. Too bad I never had an angel to walk on down that road with. Do you know secondhand smoke in between bouts of addict pangs? Smokers are not known for patience, mostly as patients. Can't breathe? Just punch a hole in your neck. Then back to the street, raising the hand once again to puppy dog lips and packed clubs and smoky bars. American Sign Language for I plan poorly, brother. Can you spare a fag? A stogue? A butt? A square? Or perhaps just one? Got one for me? International Smokers Guild, loose affiliation, dragged in notions of American honor, guilt, pride, and civic responsibility. FEMA cigarettes, first-hand, passed out after Tornado Merlot and Hurricane Johnny Walker. Froome coat cigarettes dropping from airplanes, all grass-skirted villagers sharing, smoking them down to the filter as they danced the night away. Popping off aircraft flares, cigarettes for all and justice for all. One cig bro just this one time. Should one stay in small talk out of supposed courtesy? Courtesy is king, but don't bother. I don't even like talking to myself. Secondhand withdrawn by nature, and even on first-hand nights when I was smoke rich. Not wealthy or tobacco well-heeled. Booze in one hand, my second hand holding a cigarette. I'd have rather pulled 30 cents out of my pocket, perhaps I need a third hand, and told the man with a gesture to the newsstand, common cur and curse ye. And it's closing, so you better march forward. It's a long one. See if they still sell Lucy. Cigarettes selfish sometimes. Crass cigarette denial. Buy a cigarette baron. Get cigarette nasty and overpossessive. Cigarette tyrant. Villain in the cigarette coming of age story. Turning cigarette responsible like buying a Volvo. Cigarette safe. Cigarette crash test dummies. Here, you try it first. And then cigarette based financial planning. Even if you can't charge a loaf of bread, you got to keep your cigarette credit score high, or you will end up cigarette impoverished. My father used to get a cigarette to match for a penny in Baltimore. What happened to Lord Raleigh's economy? Swept away by time. Tick-tock, tick-tock. Secondhand smoking on my inner timepiece, powered by kinetic regret, disrupting inner peace, occasional counts of notepad paper when I'm feeling poor, down about life. How many hours have I wasted yearning, wandering the streets in the dawn, dead drunk, seeking just one puff after a night of heavy booze, cigarette walkathon, killing myself, half-hearted attempts, with each lighter click, and ye shall go forth into the land and live 70 years, my father told me. Anything over that was God's time. At 7 minutes a cig and a pack a day for 15 years, that's 1,000,000 minutes I cannot have back. Not so much stolen, but that I gave it away, one puff at a time. Wonder if the infinite refunds hours by the pound spent smoking when we all get to our island in space chimp heaven. Tick-tock, tick-tock. Secondhand smoke, a pull from nature's finest, refuse, time well spent in the puffing, cast down perhaps by a man with too much who lit up 2 in a row and lost the taste for his Marlboro, or picked from the top of a trash can just next to the trains in the spirit of our man Gandhi, the Mahatma, whipped in youth by poverty, then later by white men whose shoulders he wore out, trained by the trains where he picked cigarettes for his wife like picking flowers, cigarettes as an ingredient for nonviolence, Secondhand smoke made India independent. Sajayate. So raise them up to advancement of all heterosapiens. Can I borrow some fire? Light her up. And what we do here, we do for all the human race. One small movement for a man. One giant leap in space chimp heaven for all mankind. Fight the first world problem of wasted tobacco. Click, suck. Remembering with a Christmas fireside eggnog glow the days of yore. When I had only what the street could provide. Cigarette priest. On shredded tobacco alms, just cup your hand and smile, or go secondhand butts, plucked from the pavement like streetwalkers after lunch on payday, used, right there next to the dirt and garbage and grime, lying to the woman who just noticed me with body language, intimating slightly, I was just tying my shoes, stolen shoes I might add. Did she notice there were no laces in that state that I remember? Secondhand smoke, catalyst for liberation, freedom through bondage, independence through reliance, and now environmental activism. Laudate me amicum meum as I fight filth, pollution, and littering on the street level. Grassroots, I have papers, can we smoke them? Fighting one puff at a time for this noble civilization. Captain Planet should smoke, saving three-toed sloths and fighting oil pipelines through cold wolf country. The blood of the land is upon you. Selfless cigarettism costs. Spend months on end dreaming poor man's dreams, waiting my turn to dance with Lady Luck, or pull on the Orna of Fortune, the gentleman in the breadline, reaching for a handout, watching myself being skipped by people who think my existence is for them. Who started the lie that any one person should have more than another, especially with cigarettes? Where is my UNICEF smoke? Where is the people's smoke? Smoking communism. Mao smoked religiously. Smoking kept the people on the long march forward. Comrade, Tovaris, where are my rations? Kim, the father and the son, smoked like chimneys in an iron city. Smoking crushes, crushing imperialism, one drag at a time unless better programs are offered. During the Depression, they sent my father to live at the Hebrew Orphan Asylum so he could eat. Maybe someone will send me to live at the cigarette factory so I can smoke the day away. And cigarettes grow on trees, and Gene Wilder takes us on a rowboat through a river of fresh coffee and warns us of the dangers of his new cigarettes that now provide all the nutrition of a three-course meal. Oompa Loompas with packs up their rolled sleeves, wild ones, huddled around the smoker's oasis, dancing, twirling, checking their watches. They don't like the look of it. Tick-tock, tick-tock. Sometimes neither do I. Secondhand keeps it ticking. They never quit. I had a girlfriend once. She fed me puffy oatmeal. We ate Alfredo chicken together in a cloud as God had made us. She used to call me Smokey Baby and judge my habits. We were Smokey and the Bandit until I was too poor and I wasn't pretty anymore and my rod wasn't enough to reel her in. Maybe it was just the color of my skin. Now I hope that succubus smokes 2 packs a day, her and all her money. And you heard it here firsthand. I wish I had a smoker girlfriend so we could puff cancer and then suck tongue without 5 minutes of prep wash before contact. Like I was some specialist scrubbing into surgery. Secondhand's wasted, drifting outside on the hour. I never got to smoke cigarettes while lying in bed after a great time. Not even middling time or worse. Cigarettes are not oysters, you know. That's why I'll need a harem bearing full cartons of Camels when we arrive at our island in Space Chimp Paradise. Secondhand smoking on the right day, aspirations of finding an open box and packing it so full of 3/4 length Marlboros and 5/8 length L&Ms that one appeared to have first-hand smoke, honestly purchased, in a return to dignity as they sat in a coffee house and watched Gordon Ramsay. Secondhand smoking on the right day, aspirations of finding an open box and packing it so full of 3/4 length Marlboros and 5/8 length L&Ms that one appeared to have first-hand smoke, honestly purchased, in a return to dignity as they sat in a coffee house and watched Gordon Ramsay cook beef Wellington when one could not afford a small carton of fries, and hungered like the wolf and cursed those who waste food. In this class struggle over cancer, smoking to keep up with the Joneses, first-hand smoke delusions, buying cigarettes you cannot afford, invite cigarette intervention, field commissions of smoking police, counting the people's puffs. A new sheriff rides into town on his white horse, but wearing his black hat, flashes his tin, hand on his 6-shooter. Howdy, cowboy, now better smoke that into the filter or find yourself in smoker's jail. Waste not, want not, tick-tock, tick-tock. With plenty of time for cigarette self-reflection. Is smoking the desire to die? Mort? Is it a release, comme les petites morts? Or is it the passionate will to live la vie, fiery and consuming, then sublimed and subjugated 100 times over by fresh-rolled North Carolina weeds I just lit, after he watched it? Who he? That old man who saw me relieve the street of its burden of a fresh and tasty butt, and catching fire to it, I did not lower my eyes but reveled, and he judged me then for being hopefully not poor, but perhaps overly eager to challenge our perception of what is clean. Some people just don't get me. Soldiers of the greatest generation used to rub piss on their faces to avoid acne. They defeated Hitler and made the Corvette. There must be something doing in this rough living. Careless talk got there first, so shut up and let's make lemonade from the lemons life has tossed us and stay open to the world. Homeless lemonade, I'm Ryan. Poured over top of me in the clubs of Europe, where I sip first-hand purpose and drift through rooms echoing with the sounds of techno and house and things I wished I could find again, to relive the moment sitting in an airline chair at 15 feet and sipping second-hand beer, left again as waste, watching doped-up dancers thrust in glowing light and feeling the sound strike a chord in my cosmic me. In present, past, future, in the moment, all is one, a desire for better only to run, as the second hands ticked closing time like Cinderella. My coachman had turned back to rats, my clean clothes back to rags, my ride into a pumpkin, and I escaped the sunrise to sleep off the sense that I could have what others could, for 2 moments in a row, in an abandoned hallway on a main street, in filth and wreckage, and hunted for smokes afterward, as the gentry attended church. Supplicants, celebrants, pass the bucket of hell money to fuel the rocket ship taking us to space chimp heaven. We shall pray for forgiveness of the sins of this life and whip ourselves with leather, perform rituals of ablution and get to burning incense, for the God of our space chimp paradise cult will have no smoke before his smoke. Amen. This, the hour of our deliverance, where we are relieved of the burden of the crimes we have committed, and even those we didn't. I have been accused of such damning acts I should appear in works of Shakespeare. Notorious thief, liar, serial killer, race traitor, international spy, murderer, rapist, addict, indecent acts, illicit acts, even accused of bad acting, treason, heresy, black magic, homosexuality, further immoralities, and mostly guilty. My admission might have cased a few joints and made a few plans, but your honor, raising his right hand with left hand on the day's scripture, but to my knowledge I have never stolen a cigarette on this continent. I shall keep my manos, if only so I can light my own smoke in hell. This hell, my hell. An endless train line, tick, 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 of second hands as you ride ticketless from station to station, eternally needing what others tossed away, and in fear of having to produce papillons, the paper, schnell. Smoking, waiting nervously for another train. It's always coming, even though you're not going anywhere, and don't even know it. Get the last puff sucked into those lungs. Make sure not to exhale fully before entry into the passenger compartment so someone can shudder in disgust. As you blow homeless man's dragon's breath into their eyes, the only thing worse, the smell of the rest of you. Months with no shower, a quarter of your body weight gone. See bones and muscles you didn't know you had. When you hold your breath, even to piss now, you have become living filth. Have a seat alone. Hide, not just from the men with the badges, from the world, so they don't stare at you like you are an animal again. You might start to believe them, and watch the lights pass, and all the pretty people through the window. Tick, 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 tick. Wheels rocking on steel rail. Gaze in reflection, and learn to find meaning in the havoc of nothing, or live again the moments of my cigarette damnation. Purchase secondhand from the devil himself in installments. The burden of secondhand life filled with secondhand dread, secondhand food, secondhand living space for a second-class citizen, scouring the gutter for secondhand pain relief. My secondhand crutch, deadening device for secondhand lust, secondhand want for things I cannot have and others have, so much of it ends up in the garbage, and live in secondhand envy because I'm too impulsive, or I'm poor, or I'm narrow-minded, or I'm addiction-prone, or just on a cold streak, plain unlucky, and share my depression over not money but stripped independence. And then my secondhand sadness, one butt at a time, clockwork, time ticking away. Now secondhand embarrassment and secondhand regret. Regret every second turns to secondhand shame, secondhand pain, second-degree burns searing away all that you are, and leaves only secondhand scars on my still first-hand soul.